There is a solitude that rebuilds you, and there is a solitude that buries you, and the one that buries you is the one that feels better. That's the whole problem. Walking away feels the same as letting go. Calm feels like progress. Not caring anymore feels like strength. And you can sit inside that feeling for years, completely at peace, and be exactly as stuck as the day you walked out. So be honest with yourself before anything else. Which one have you been in? Because there's a real chance you didn't heal. You just hid. You've seen both kinds. You've met someone who came back from being alone genuinely different. Not broken, not bitter. Something in them has gone quiet and solid. They don't chase. They don't explain themselves. They walk into a room and you can feel that they don't need a single thing from anyone in it. And then there's the other kind. Someone who has been alone for years and it did nothing for them. It just made them smaller, colder, easier to hurt. Same solitude. Two completely different people. So solitude was never the thing that changed them. Solitude is just a room. Everything depends on what you do once the door closes behind you. Carl Jung said we don't become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. So answer this. In all that time alone, did you ever turn around and face yourself? Or did you just get comfortable? And if that question annoys you, it's because nobody ever told you there was one. The advice you were given stops at the door. You've been told 100 times that stepping back is the answer. Go quiet. Protect your energy. Stop explaining yourself. Cut off whoever is draining you. And none of that is wrong. It's just unfinished. Nobody tells you what happens after. Nobody tells you that you can sit in that room for years feeling calm, feeling above all of it, and be exactly as stuck as the day you walked in. Because both of those people did the same thing. They stepped back. They went quiet. From the outside, you couldn't tell them apart, and for a long time, neither could they. One of them was doing something in there. The other one was only sitting still. Once you know what separates them, you cannot unsee it in yourself. Here's what separates them, and it's simpler than you'd expect. Real solitude has something waiting in it. Hiding just has a door. When you step back for the right reason, you're going towards something. There's something you need to look at. Something you couldn't hear while everyone was talking. Some question you've been too busy and too needed to sit with. The quiet is where the work happens. When you step back for the wrong reason, you're only going away. That's the whole movement. There's no work in it. There's relief. And relief feels so much like healing that most people live their entire lives without learning the difference. Jung had a word for what solitude is actually for. He called it individuation. It sounds heavy, but it means something very plain. It means becoming the person you actually are instead of the person you learned to be so that people would keep you around. And that needs quiet. It genuinely does. You cannot hear yourself over the sound of everybody needing something from you. But notice what individuation is not. It is not escape. It is not vanishing. It is not building a life nobody can reach and calling it freedom. Because you can be completely alone and completely occupied by other people. You can sit in an empty room having imaginary arguments. You can spend a year by yourself and spend every hour of it on someone who isn't there. That isn't solitude. That's a crowded room with nobody in it. And Jung said something about loneliness that almost nobody repeats. He said loneliness has nothing to do with how many people are around you. It comes from not being able to say the thing that actually matters to you. Which means you can be surrounded and starving, and it means you can be completely alone and not lonely for a second. The difference was never the number of people in the room. It was whether you were telling the truth in it. So the question was never whether you should be alone. Sometimes you absolutely should. Sometimes leaving is the most honest thing you'll ever do. The question is whether anything is actually happening in there. So let's find out. 3 questions. Answer them honestly, because there's nobody here but you. Who are you being quiet at? Sit with that one. Because if your silence has a name attached to it, it isn't solitude. It's a message. You're not alone. You're waiting for them to notice, to reach out, to feel it, to finally understand what they did. And you know how you can tell? You check. You know exactly how many days it's been. You've counted. Real solitude doesn't count days. It has no audience. Nobody is supposed to be watching. What have you learned about yourself since you stepped back? Not about them, about you. Because if all that quiet has produced is a clearer, sharper, better organized list of everyone who wronged you, then you didn't go inward. You went into a bunker with a grudge. You've spent months building a case, and a case is not self-knowledge, even though it feels just as much like progress. If the door opened right now, would anything be different? If everyone came back, if it all went back to how it was, would you be a different person in it? Or would you do the same things in the same order and end up in the same place with new faces attached? If nothing would be different, then the solitude hasn't done anything yet. It's been a pause, a long, quiet, well-deserved pause, but a pause is not a change. Now, I know exactly how that lands. You start to feel accused. You start to feel like you're being told your boundaries were wrong, that you should never have walked out in the first place. That isn't it. Walking out might have been the smartest thing you've ever done. I'm not asking you to go back. I'm telling you that walking out was the entrance, not the arrival. And a lot of people are standing in the doorway congratulating themselves for having traveled. Because if you answered those 3 questions and didn't like what came back, understand something. It isn't because you're weak or lazy or not serious about changing. Most people who go quiet end up in the second room, and they end up there for one reason. You didn't take the mask off. You swapped it for a better one. Jung called it the persona. It's the face you put on so the world will accept you, the version of you that gets approved of. For most of your life, yours was probably the same one everybody starts with. The helpful one, the understanding one, the one who's always fine, always there, always says yes. That mask cost you an enormous amount, and eventually you got tired enough to pull it off. But you didn't stop wearing a mask. You put on a different one, the unreachable one, the one who needs nobody, the one who's healed, who's above it, who can't be provoked, who moved on first, the one who doesn't reply. And this one is so much harder to see because it looks like growth. Every part of it looks like progress. You can wear it for 20 years and be admired for it. So ask yourself this: if nobody ever knew you had walked away, would you still be walking away? If that question makes you uncomfortable, you found the mask. There's a second thing happening underneath it, and it's bigger. Jung said that whatever we can't stand to see in ourselves, we hand to someone else. We put it on them and we hate it there, because hating it there is easy and finding it in the mirror is not. He called that projection, and once you can see it, you'll see it everywhere for the rest of your life. Here's what it actually looks like. You've told the story to a friend. You've told it enough times now that it's smooth. And in the version you tell, they take and you give, they lie and you believe them, they leave and you're the one left standing there. It's a good story. You've cut the parts that don't fit. And every single time you tell it, you feel better. That's the tell. Truth doesn't usually make you feel better. Truth makes you go quiet. Now think about what happens when you cut everyone off while you're still bleeding. You take everything you couldn't bear to look at, and you hand it to the people you left behind. They become the selfish ones, the users, the ones who couldn't love properly. And you become the one who finally saw it all clearly and walked. And maybe that's true. Sometimes it's completely, entirely true. But notice how convenient it is. If all of it lives in them, then none of it lives in you. And now you never have to look at it again. You've built a room where the problem is permanently somewhere else, and you're the only person in it, so nobody will ever correct you. That's the solitude that buries you. Not because it's cruel, because it's comfortable. Jung wrote that the first thing you meet when you turn inward is not some higher, wiser self. He said, the meeting with oneself is, at first, the meeting with one's own shadow. Your shadow is just the part of you that you've refused to claim, the pettiness, the neediness, the part that liked being needed, the part that chose those people over and over and knew, and that part never comes to you in company. It waits for the room to go quiet, which means the quiet was never your reward, it was your appointment. And nobody warns you what you're meeting. The thing in the room is whatever you couldn't look at while you were busy being useful to everybody. And it has been waiting a long time. That's why real solitude doesn't feel good, not at the start. It feels like grief or shame or a restlessness you can't name. You'll want to fill it. You'll reach for your phone. You'll suddenly need to reorganize your whole life. Anything at all except sitting still with what's in there with you. And here's what I want you to hold on to. Peace is not proof that you're doing it right. Peace can mean you've resolved something. Peace can also mean you've walked far enough away that you can't feel it anymore. Distance and healing are identical from the inside. That is the entire trap. So what does the work actually look like? It isn't complicated, it's just unpleasant. It looks like asking what you were getting out of the thing you're so angry about, not what they got, what you got. Because you stayed, and something in it was feeding you, and until you know what that was, you'll walk straight into it again with a different face on it. It looks like noticing what you're still hoping for. Because underneath a lot of silence, there's a hope that hasn't died yet, a hope that they'll come back different, and you cannot grieve something while you're secretly still waiting for it. Every hour you spent angry at them was spent looking outward. Understandable, human, completely justified, and still outward. Nothing you find out there has ever once changed you. Do this, and something shifts that you'll feel physically. The heat goes out of it. You stop rehearsing conversations. You put the case down. But there's a limit to what the room can give you, and it arrives sooner than people think. You can't stay in there. You were never meant to. Everything you work out in that room stays theoretical until the door opens again. A story you tell yourself about who you've become, with nobody around to test it, which is exactly where everybody stops. There's a version of this idea all over the internet, and it ends with you still in the room, untouchable, needing nothing from anyone, unbothered, sovereign, permanently unavailable. That is not what Jung was describing. He thought the whole point of becoming yourself was that it finally made you able to be with other people, not above them, not beyond them, with them. Because when you're not using someone to fill a hole, you can actually see them. And when you're not terrified of losing them, you can finally be honest with them. The person who needs nobody hasn't finished. They've just found a place to stop where nothing hurts. Walking away is a stage. It's a real one, and often a necessary one. But the test was never how long you could stay gone. The test is who you are when you come back. And you will come back. Maybe not to those people, usually not to those people, but to the world, to new people, to the possibility of being known again. The only question is whether you come back as someone who did the work, or as someone who built a higher wall and learned to call it peace. Here's how you'll know it worked. You'll stop needing anyone to understand why you left, not suppressing the need. It'll be gone. You'll be able to think about the person you walked away from and feel something quieter than anger. Not forgiveness necessarily, just less heat. And you'll notice you no longer need to be unavailable because you're no longer afraid of what being available used to cost you. You'll be able to get close to someone without disappearing into them. That's the real one. That's the whole thing. That's what the room was for. So you have a choice, and you've had it the entire time you've been listening to this. You can keep the door shut. It's safe in there. Nobody reaches you, nobody disappoints you, and you never have to find out what's in the corner. Plenty of people choose that. It looks like strength from the outside, and it quietly takes the rest of their life. Or you can turn around and face the thing you went in there to avoid. And it will be worse than you're imagining. I'm not going to lie to you about that part. But it stops being the thing that runs your life, and one day you'll notice you haven't thought about it in a week, and you'll walk out of that room as someone your old life wouldn't recognize. There is a solitude that rebuilds you. There is a solitude that buries you. The only difference is whether you ever turn around. So tell me in the comments honestly, which one have you been in? Solitude or hiding? One word. I want to see how many people are willing to say it. And whatever word came to you just now, you already knew it. You knew it before you clicked on this. That's why you clicked on this. The room is still there. So is the thing in the corner. It has been waiting the entire time you've been listening to me. Go and turn around.